Yo, what's good, family?
This is your boy King Narrator coming at you with another incredible true story that's gonna blow your mind.
Before we get into today's wild tale about how Snoop Dogg turned his mansion into an impenetrable fortress against one of Mexico's most dangerous cartels, make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss one of our epic stories.
Now listen up. This ain't your typical celebrity mansion tour.
This is about how the Dogfather himself created what insiders now call Forbidden Ground, a high-tech citadel that left cartel hitmen running for their lives without a single shot fired.
Let's get into it.
On a warm Los Angeles night in Westgate Heights, the sprawling estate of Snoop Dogg stood as a beacon of luxury and lethal ingenuity. The infamous rapper had transformed his residence into a near-impenetrable fortress. His mansion, nestled among palm trees and modern art installations, boasted bulletproof glass, hidden control centers, state-of-the-art surveillance, and an array of automated traps that spoke to a level of planning rarely seen outside military installations. That tranquility was shattered when a convoy of black SUVs approached along the winding driveway. The attackers were professionals, highly trained operatives from a notorious Mexican cartel led by Rico Reyes, a man with a reputation for ruthless precision, and his enigmatic second-in-command known only as El Shadow. Dressed in dark tactical gear with reflective sunglasses that glinted in the low light, Reyes exuded cold confidence as he barked orders in clipped Spanish over his radio. His team had been organized into multiple cells. One group armed with silenced pistols and combat knives advanced toward the massive steel fence, while another carrying compact explosives circled the rear of the mansion. A third cell lay in ambush near the vehicles, ready to provide backup or retreat if necessary. Inside the mansion, Snoop monitored the approaching threat from his custom-built control room. The space, filled with high-definition monitors and sophisticated security equipment, was as much a war room as a command center. Calm and collected, the Dogfather observed the movements of the cartel operatives with a cool detachment. "Y'all really thought this was going to be easy?" Snoop murmured, his fingers dancing over the console as he activated the estate's defenses. The mansion responded immediately. A series of high-intensity LED lights mounted above the main entrance burst into life, flooding the area with a blinding white glare. The sudden brilliance disoriented the advancing operatives, forcing them to pause as they shielded their eyes. Simultaneously, an engineered mist of non-lethal nerve agent was released around the perimeter. The effect was instantaneous. The attackers' coordination began to crumble as panic set in.
Breakthrough.
"We need to get inside no matter what." Rico Reyes barked into his radio, but his confident tone wavered as the full extent of Snoop Dogg's technological prowess became apparent. Inside, the atmosphere was electric with controlled chaos. DJ Static switched on his custom-built multi-frequency jammer, and within seconds, the cartel's radio communications were reduced to incoherent static. The carefully orchestrated movements of the attacking cells fell apart as they were cut off from one another. Big Dog, stationed near the front gate, kept his non-lethal weapons at the ready. "They're on the ropes now, boss. I'm ready to engage if any of these clowns try to make a move." Meanwhile, Techie T's nimble fingers flew over her keyboard as she activated decoy audio signals through concealed speakers, broadcasting a series of alarming messages that mimicked official law enforcement warnings. "Y'all got 5 minutes to back off or the Fed's gonna be counting," rang out in a deep, commanding voice, sowing further seeds of confusion among the intruders. As the attackers hesitated and faltered, Snoop Dogg's confidence grew. Every element of the defense had been designed not only to repel but to psychologically unnerve the enemy. Floodlights disoriented the attackers at the north gate, drones equipped with thermal cameras circled overhead providing constant surveillance, and a hidden network of speakers continuously fed the enemy false signals and conflicting commands. In the midst of this orchestrated chaos, Snoop activated his encrypted communications device to call in reinforcements. On the other end of the secure line, Agent Valerie Martinez, a seasoned federal operative, responded with brisk efficiency.
"Agent Martinez, this is Snoop. We're under attack.
The cartel's got multiple cells in play, but my team's got 'em on lockdown.
I need your tactical unit on site ASAP."
The reply was immediate.
"Copy that, Snoop.
Our tactical teams are en route."
Hold your ground."
Outside, the unmistakable wail of sirens began to echo as federal vehicles and local law enforcement units converged on the mansion, adding another layer of intimidation to the already overwhelming defense. Rico Reyes, frustrated and increasingly desperate, ordered his men to retreat.
"Pull back.
"Pull back," he roared, his voice barely audible over the static of his failing communications. The attackers, now disoriented and isolated, began to scatter in a chaotic retreat, their once mighty assault reduced to a feeble attempt to salvage pride in the face of overwhelming odds. In that moment, Snoop Dogg allowed himself a brief, satisfied smile as he surveyed the unfolding scene on his monitors. "Y'all thought you were coming to take a shot at a pawn," he mused, his gravelly voice filled with a mix of amusement and pride. "But you just stepped into the crib of the Dogfather." With the cartel's forces in disarray, federal agents moved in swiftly. The incapacitated attackers were rounded up with precision, their weapons confiscated and their ambitions dashed against the unyielding walls of Snoop's fortress. As the chaotic remnants of the assault were secured, Snoop Dogg stepped out from his control room and made his way toward the front of the mansion. There, beneath the glow of flashing police lights and the hum of approaching federal vehicles, a makeshift podium had been assembled for the press. Reporters from every major news outlet had gathered, their cameras and microphones capturing every moment of what was rapidly becoming a legendary tale. Standing before the assembled crowd, Snoop Dogg adjusted his signature shades and addressed the nation with a calm, commanding tone.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Last night my mansion was attacked by a Mexican cartel led by Rico Reyes and his associate El Shadow. They came to send a message of vengeance over anti-cartel policies I publicly support. But they didn't account for the fact that when you roll with the Dogfather, you roll with the best defense money can buy. His words, delivered with a mixture of cool humor and steely resolve, captivated the audience as he recounted the events of the night in vivid detail. "We didn't fire a single shot," he continued, "because we turned an ambush into a masterclass in modern defense. Every single operative they sent was neutralized without any casualties. The FBI and local law enforcement have taken them in, and that's the way it should be done." The press conference that followed was nothing short of historic. Headlines across the country hailed Snoop Dogg's innovative approach to security, an approach that combined the latest in technology with the streetwise cunning of a seasoned veteran. Analysts debated the implications of his methods for national security policy, and even rival artists found themselves in awe of the Dogfather's strategic brilliance. In subsequent interviews with major networks aimed at a mature audience, Snoop Dogg elaborated on his philosophy of defense. "My mansion isn't just a place to kick back," he explained.
It's a fortress.
"I built it with a vision to be ready for any threat, be it from the streets or the underworld. What you saw last night was a perfect blend of high-tech traps, strategic countermeasures, and a tight-knit crew that's always ready to roll."
Wen you mess with me, you mess with all of us.
After the media frenzy subsided, Snoop retreated to his private study, a sanctuary lined with memorabilia from decades of a storied career, interwoven with blueprints and schematics of the mansion's advanced security systems. There, with Big Dog, Techie T, and DJ Static by his side, he reviewed every detail of the night's events. "We did good," Big Dog remarked in his deep, steady tone. "But I noticed a few weak spots. That eastern wall almost gave way when they tried to breach it. We need to reinforce it further." Techie T, scrolling through hours of surveillance footage on her high-resolution tablet, agreed. "I'm already in talks with some top-tier suppliers to upgrade our insulation and add extra surveillance drones. We're going to have thermal cameras covering every inch of the perimeter." DJ Static, never one to miss a beat, added, "I'm working on a multi-frequency upgrade for the jammer. Next time they try to coordinate, they'll be left in complete silence." Snoop listened intently, his eyes reflecting the weight of responsibility and the satisfaction of having turned adversity into triumph. "This one isn't just about protecting my crib," he said slowly. "It's about sending a message to every crooked force out there. When you mess with the Dogfather, you get played on every level." But even as the mansion's defenses were being strengthened, a new threat emerged. Intelligence reports confirmed that a splinter faction of the cartel, led by a cunning operator named Javier El Corvo Morales, was mobilizing for revenge. Unlike Rico Reyes, who had attempted a full-scale assault and been repelled by Snoop's intricate system of traps and decoys, El Corvo was a more subtle, shadowy figure, a man who preferred to work in the dark with a small but deadly crew of elite operatives. Late one night, as a cool breeze swept through the perfectly manicured gardens of the mansion, Snoop Dogg sat alone in his private study, gazing out at the Los Angeles skyline that glittered like a sea of stars in the distance. His phone buzzed with an encrypted message from Agent Martinez, confirming the worst: El Corvo's hit squad was expected to arrive within 3 days. Without a trace of anxiety, Snoop simply murmured, "Let him come. We're ready." He immediately convened his core team in the fortified war room, a space where every monitor and control panel was dedicated to protecting the legacy he had built. "Listen up," he said firmly. "El Corvo might not have the numbers that Reyes did, but don't let that fool you. We've got 3 days to upgrade every system on this property. Big Dog, I need those mobile floodlights in position at the east and west corners, motion-triggered and set to blind anyone who dares step on my turf. Techie T, double your efforts on the drone surveillance and make sure the thermal cameras are calibrated to catch even the slightest movement. DJ Static tuned that jammer to every frequency they might use. If they try to coordinate a counterattack, they're going to be cut off before they even know what hit him. Big Dog's deep voice rumbled with determination as he assured, "I'll have my crew drill the close combat team harder than ever. We're going to run drills from morning till night. If these punks try to breach our lines, they're going to learn the hard way." Techie T was already busy at her station, her fingers flying over her keyboard as she arranged for a fresh shipment of military-grade nerve gas, tripling the reserves and installing extra insulation in the bunker to block any thermal detection. DJ Static confirmed his commitment. "I'll make sure our signal detection system is locked down tight. If they try any new comms, my system will intercept and disable them immediately." Snoop Dogg listened, a slight smile crossing his face as he absorbed every detail. "They call this place Forbidden Ground for a reason," he said softly.
When you mess with the Dogvater, you better be ready for alle song you won't forget.
The days leading up to the anticipated assault were a flurry of activity. Under the cover of darkness, construction crews selected for their discretion and expertise worked tirelessly to install mobile floodlights, reinforce the electric grids outside the perimeter, and set up an expansive network of surveillance drones. Big Dog led grueling close combat drills with the team, ensuring that every member was ready to act at a moment's notice. DJ Static spent long hours calibrating his jammer, testing it against every conceivable frequency until he was certain that no enemy signal could breach the communication blackout. Meanwhile, Techie T monitored the upgrades with a vigilant eye, adjusting settings and running simulations to ensure that every layer of defense functioned flawlessly. Then, on the eve of the new threat, the mansion transformed into a hive of hushed anticipation. At the precise hour predicted by intelligence, a convoy of unmarked vehicles emerged along the long driveway. Inside the lead vehicle, Javier El Corvo Morales surveyed the scene with cold, calculating eyes. Clad in tactical gear that blended with the darkness, he exuded a quiet confidence that masked his inner determination. His elite crew, numbering no more than 10, was armed with heavy weaponry and advanced thermal imaging devices. They moved with precision, each operative poised for a swift and deadly breach. As the vehicles approached, DJ Static's monitors lit up with multiple heat signatures converging on the mansion's east and north gates. "They're here," he announced, his voice steady but laced with anticipation. From his command center, Snoop Dogg observed the unfolding scene with a serene confidence that only came from knowing one's defenses were impenetrable. "Let him roll in," he murmured, his voice as smooth as the beats he was known for. "We've been ready for this moment. Time to show him why this ground is forbidden." The first sign of trouble came when an attacker triggered a motion sensor near the north gate. Instantly, the mobile floodlights erupted into an intense, disorienting glare, flooding the area with brilliant white light that overwhelmed the attacker's thermal cameras. In that split second, hidden drones activated and released a thick, obscuring cloud of smoke, further disorienting the advancing operatives. Snoop's voice boomed over the external speakers, commanding, "Switch on the fake alarms." A cacophony of simulated FBI sirens and helicopter rotors echoed throughout the estate, a soundscape designed to disorient and intimidate, convincing the attackers that federal forces were already on the scene. Big Dog and his team moved swiftly to intercept any stragglers, disarming and detaining several attackers with non-lethal precision. Meanwhile, Techie T's surveillance feeds revealed another group attempting to flank the mansion from the rear. With a few keystrokes, she activated additional traps along the back wall, and concealed speakers began broadcasting intimidating voice messages that named and shamed the cartel operatives. "Y'all got no game," the disembodied voice thundered. "And you're about to feel the pain of that truth." The attackers, now overwhelmed by the relentless sensory assault and cut off by DJ Static's upgraded jammer, which silenced every frequency they tried to use, found themselves isolated and panicked. Snoop Dogg watched it all unfold from his command center, his eyes glinting with satisfaction as he murmured, "This is how you run a fortress. They come at you with heavy weapons and fancy tech, but we got strategy on lock." Agent Martinez's voice crackled over the secure line one final time, "Snoop, our tactical team is in position. We're sweeping the grounds and will move in on any remaining targets.
Stand down and let us do the rest."
With those words, the final phase of Snoop's meticulously crafted plan was set in motion. Every remaining attacker found themselves isolated, disoriented, and utterly unable to coordinate. The combined effect of high-intensity floodlights, disorienting smoke, relentless fake alarms, and an array of non-lethal traps reduced the once deadly force to a scattered, defeated mess. In the aftermath, as federal agents and local police secured the incapacitated cartel members and confiscated their weapons, Snoop Dogg stepped out into the cool night air. The mansion, still pulsing with the residual energy of its active defenses, stood as a monument to modern ingenuity and unwavering resilience. Reporters and camera crews who had been waiting since the earlier press conference surged forward to capture every moment of this historic victory. Snoop, with his signature calm and measured demeanor, addressed the crowd with a voice that blended authority and cool nonchalance. "Y'all just witnessed how we handle business in my crib," he declared. "No bullets were fired, no lives were lost, and that's because we're smarter than the enemy. We turned a hit into history." His words resonated deeply with an audience that valued not only strength and strategy but also the ability to diffuse conflict without needless violence. In the weeks that followed, Snoop's mansion, now forever known as Forbidden Ground, became a symbol of American resilience and innovation. Security experts studied his methods, law enforcement agencies integrated his techniques into their training, and political pundits hailed the incident as a turning point in modern defense strategy. Yet even as the media lauded his triumph and the nation debated the implications of his non-violent tactics, Snoop Dogg remained vigilant. Back in his fortified study, surrounded by both memorabilia of his storied career and detailed schematics of his advanced security systems, he and his core team, Big Dog, Techie T, and DJ Static, continued to refine their defenses. They analyzed every detail of the confrontation, identified potential vulnerabilities, and planned further upgrades. "We did good, but we can always get better," Snoop mused, his voice steady and reflective. "Every challenge is an opportunity to grow stronger. They thought I was just a smooth talker, but I've been building this fortress for a long time, and next time will be even tougher." As the city of Los Angeles continued to glitter under the night sky, Snoop Dogg's legacy of Forbidden Ground promised that no matter what challenges lay ahead, he and his team would always be ready to turn the tide once again. So that's the incredible story of how Snoop Dogg transformed his mansion into an impenetrable fortress. If you enjoyed this wild tale of high-tech defense and cartel takedowns, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell. Leave a comment below telling us what you thought. Was Snoop's strategy genius or what? And if you want to hear more incredible stories like this one, check out our playlist Celebrity Secrets, linked in the description below. This is King Narrator signing off. Peace out, family.